to hear yes or no in between.
Yes, sir,
At
you're
least
audible.
I am audible, right? Yeah.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. So the thing is, no, we talk about tourism a lot. Like everywhere these days, we hear about tourism and different types of tourism. Yeah, of course, there is a reason why you are all here to learn about tourism or to study a program in tourism, whether it be the graduate or postgraduate program. And yeah, different types of tourism. We talk about see mass tourism. We talk about responsible tourism. We talk about eco tourism, eco-friendly tourism, adventure tourism. So umpteen number of different types of tourism. Even I'll tell you, there is a see there is something called as suicide tourism also, where suicide. Yeah, of course it is not legal, but there were companies which were operating something called as suicide tourism, where people from different countries where euthanasia is not permitted. Euthanasia means, I suppose you know what it is actually, where people where the government with the willingness of the concerned person who are terminally ill, they will be killed actually. Killed means they will be given a painless death. So there are some countries where euthanasia is permitted, and there were some tour organizations who were taking people from one country to the other where the suicide is permitted, and people committed suicide over there. So this is illegal. I'm not saying it is legal, and it has been strictly regulated by the governments. It happened mostly in countries like Switzerland, and mostly the visitors were from Germany and Britain. Okay. So what I'm trying to say, when you talk about tourism, it's a very, very big industry, and there are different types of tourism. And even when we talk tourism as an industry also, see what exactly is tourism? Airlines, again, it is coming under tourism. Hotel industry, hospitality industry is coming again under tourism. Souvenirs or cruises or all these different industries are coming under tourism. So all these things are also separately tourism, separately industries also. Hospitality industry, airlines industry. So basically, when we talk about tourism, it is not one industry. That's why we call tourism as an industry of industries. It is an industry which comprises of many other industries. Okay, that is why we call it as an industry of industries. And yeah, why we need to promote tourism? What could be the reason for promoting tourism? Yeah, obviously the reason is that it is having lot of positive impacts on the environment, on the socio-cultural front, and most importantly on the economy also. Yeah, it has. I'm repeating. It has got a lot of positive socio-cultural, economic, and environmental impact. At the same time, there are people who say tourism should never be developed. Tourism should never be promoted. Why? They cite many reasons. Because see, the name travel and tourism, TNT, we say TNT. It sounds like TNT. Those are coming from science background. They will be knowing it. TNT is nothing but a component which is used in dynamite, trinitrotoluene. And trinitrotoluene is used in the production of dynamite, and dynamite is an explosive. What I'm trying to say is that tourism industry is also an explosive industry. It is a very explosive industry. And when something which is an explosive or fragile or such things, what we should do normally, and we have to handle it with care. We need to handle such industry. We need to handle our industry with utmost care. Why? Because otherwise, the same industry, the same tourism industry has that capability to destroy the factors on which it is thriving. What I'm trying to say is that tourism thrives on the environment, yes, the landscape, the beauty, the culture, the society, and if left just like that, without proper control, the same tourism has that capability to destroy all these things, destroy our culture, destroy our society, destroy the environment, all these things. And that is why we require professionals to man this industry, to control this industry, to run this industry. It is not like every Tom and Harry can run this tourism industry. Unfortunately, that is happening. It has happened in many cases, but now things are changing. It's not like anybody who is going there and they can come and become a tourism professional. Things have changed now. Okay, that is why we have specialized courses in tourism sector, whether it be hospitality or tourism sector. Okay, and let me just tell before going to the particular topic, I'll just tell that is the reason why tourism has another bad name. Also, it is considered to be a self-destructing industry. As I told you earlier, it is considered to be self-destructing because it thrives on the environment and the landscape. It has the capability to destroy it also. It thrives on the society and the culture. It has the capability to destroy it also. But telling all these things, see, driving can be dangerous. Yeah, driving has if you drive carelessly, there is a high possibility that you may meet with an accident. But that doesn't mean we should not drive. The answer is we should drive carefully. The same way, tourism is an industry which needs to be handled with care. It has to be very cautious while working as a professional in this industry or starting a business in this industry. It has that much implications onto the environment, society, and the culture and economy of the nation or the host country, host population also. Okay, telling this much, let me just start with a small presentation, and I have not gone deep into that one because you will be learning the same topic in your class also. So I'm just trying to give you a basic idea about what are the different impacts of tourism. Just I'm starting the screen sharing. Just a moment. Yeah, can you see the screen? Anybody? Is it visible? Can you see this slide? Yeah, fine, fine. I understood. It's muted from your part, right? Okay, so that is about the impacts of tourism. We are just starting with that one. Okay, and as I told earlier, when we talk about tourism industry and all these things, see, all the impacts, basically we can categorize the impacts into three sectors actually, or three different sectors. One is the economic sector, next one is the socio-cultural aspect, and the third one is the environmental sector, we can say. These are the three areas where primarily the impacts of tourism is happening. Okay, so that's why we categorize, and we will be learning or we will be discussing about the impacts which tourism makes, both positive and negative, onto this economic sector of a country or a state or a socio-cultural and environmental sector. Okay, so here, and then again, tourism impacts are multifaceted. What does this mean, multifaceted? Multifaceted means it's quite see, it's quite complex also. It has different dimensions. So tourism impacts are having different dimensions, and it has different meanings for different people. For example, some people may be benefited. There are some other people or some sectors which are not benefited. So it is having difference. We cannot say completely it is good for everybody. So there are certain areas or sectors or certain impacts of tourism which may be good for some and which may be bad for some. Okay, and then again, of course, for every aspect, there are two sides of it: positive and negative impacts of tourism. Okay, there can be positive impacts and negative impacts. Let us now first see the economic impacts of tourism. See, we talk about tourism and why. See, to be very frank, whatsoever we say, ultimately the purpose of developing tourism for a nation, for a state, it is the economic impact. Whatsoever be the secondary other impacts, like whether it be socio-cultural or your other environmental impact, but basic thing is the economic impact, the money which we are getting out of tourism, how the economy is running, the employment generation of it. Let us see what are the positive economic impacts of tourism. See, first and foremost, we talk about foreign exchange earnings, right? And see, India is a country. Yeah, we know it's a very big country, and economy-wise, again, we have got a very big population, and to sustain the population in a proper way, our economy need to grow again. And see, tourism is considered to be one industry which can solve this issue, where the maximum foreign exchange earnings which we are getting from the tourism industry, that will really help the country to balance in its positive balance of payments also. What is balance of payment? So basically, it's an economic term where when countries normally they do trade. Take the case of India, our country itself. We have trade relationships with many other countries. And what is the ultimately how much of imports and exports, or how much of revenue we are generating out of the exports? And tourism is one industry which will help us to increase our positive balance of payment, which is again good for the nation and its economy. Okay. Yeah, somebody has raised a hand. If you want to ask question or something, I think we can keep. But if you really have a question, you can. If you feel like asking it now itself, we can put it in the chat box. I can answer it also. No issues. Then the development of infrastructure. See, you talk about tourism. See, a tourism or a destination cannot simply develop like that. It requires infrastructure. So whenever there is a development of tourism in particular area, then naturally there is going to be infrastructural development along with that one. See, whether it be the roads or whether it be the resorts or whether it be the other ancillary developments like market areas and all these things will also be developed along with the tourism development of the place. That is another positive impact of tourism, we can say. Then the most important one is again employment generation. In a country like India, especially I'm telling about our nation, the employment generation is one among the most critical aspect with respect to the tourism positive impact. See, let me tell you, see, tourism is highly employment intensive. Last day I was reading an article where it was told like, see, as of 2018, I think, almost 14 people out of 100 or 14% of the people who are working, who are employed in the country is directly or indirectly related with tourism industry. So that much of employment intensive our industry is. See, and since I'll just add on to that point more, little bit more. When you talk about employment in tourism, that is the reason why you're all going studying this course also. It is highly employment intensive. You have a very good chances or possibility to get a good job in tourism industry. But another interesting aspect is that this is one area where people of all levels will get a job. Like people of different personalities will get a job. See, basically, we talk about different personality levels of people. Some people are introverts, some are extroverts, and some are we call ambiverts. At times they're extroverts, at times they're introverts. And this is one industry where you have job opportunity for people from different category, different skill level, different personality level. Somebody who is quite an introvert, people think, okay, they cannot work in tourism industry. No, they also see somebody who is working as a chef in a hotel, uh, and will be earning in lakhs actually if he's a good chef, he or she is a good chef. See, they need not be so much an overtly or what is it, that extrovert kind of character. No, they can be an introvert also. So still you have a. My point is that this industry is highly employment intensive and it caters to the needs. I mean, it caters to the different personality levels of people. You get a job, whatever be your personality level, whatever be the kind of person you are, still you have a chance to get a very good job in this industry, unlike other things. And it's quite interesting also. See, tourism industry is where we get to know people more. See, you take the example, somebody who is working with IT, information technologies, he or she comes and sits in front of a computer. Next day also he comes and sits in front of the computer. And the computer behaves the same way, right? It behaves the same way, unless maybe it's a little bit extra time for booting or shutting down. That's all. But apart from that, it behaves the same way, and it's a little bit of kind of a monotonous job also. But then with people, in tourism industry, we deal with people, and people. The most difficult thing to manage in this world is human beings. Why? Everybody is different. Each one of us are different with respect to our character level, with respect to our nature and behavior pattern. Okay, the same way the same person can be at different times according to their moods. They also they can behave differently. Somebody who is very good in the morning, he may be behaving little different in the evening, maybe because of some other issues. What I'm trying to say, this is quite interesting to deal with people. At the same time, it is tough to deal with people also. You should be a good man manager too, or you should know good man management to work in this industry, and your presence of mind. That's the things will come on later. Okay, now coming to the another positive impact, benefits to local economies. Yeah. Benefits to local economy. See, the biggest advantage of proper tourism development is that the local community will be benefited out of it. Because see, any destination, if you see, of course there may be resorts, there may be big hotels or star category properties which are constructed by corporates. That is different. At the same time, you will find small shops or small business enterprise, maybe tour guides. Okay, those who are from the local community itself, because they know the place better than anybody else. Okay, so they are also benefited because of the tourism. They are economically benefited. They are getting job. So that is another good thing with respect to tourism. So these are some of the positive impacts of tourism. There are with respect to economic factor, and there are many more which I have not covered actually. Only the basic important ones, because you will be learning this topic in a more advanced way in your classroom lecture and in your as part of the syllabus also. Yes. Now comes the negative impacts of tourism. Negative impacts. See, first thing is inflation. Yes, inflation is what is inflation? Actually, inflation means in this particular. It's a big topic. It's simple also. You already would have learned it in your graduate level or +1, +2 level if you are taking commerce. So inflation is nothing but it's a hike in demand. It's an artificial hike in demand, we say, because all of a sudden there are people from outside who are coming to our place, and they also require things like whether it be food or whether it be vegetables or whatever let it be. Okay, so naturally there will be a hike in demand, which will what will happen when there is a demand hike? Naturally, the cost of the item will go, the price of the item will go up. See, there are 5 mangoes, 5 people. One mango may cost 2 rupees, and the person will take 10 rupees and go home. But when there are 5 mangoes and 10 people there or 8 people there, what will happen? Only 5 can buy the apple. So the person will hike the amount. Instead of 2 rupees, he will charge 3 rupees. So somebody who is able and willing to buy for 3 rupees only will be getting the apple, and rest of the 2 people or 3 people will not be getting the orange apple, whatever it is. Okay, so that is inflation, where there is a hike in demand. So when tourist people are coming to our area, naturally there is a inflation or hike in demand, which will cause the inflation, which will in turn increase the price of the items. So natural or whatever common items which we buy in our place, which was cheaper earlier, will be more what to say more costly because of tourism. One thing. Another thing is leakage. Yes, we talk about leakage in tourism. See, quite often you find a lot of money which we get out of tourism. It is a part of that money is going back also. A part of that money is going back. When I'm saying going back, see how? See, you stay in a hotel, or there is a hotel in our place, and people are coming from abroad and stay in that hotel. Okay, and maybe there are many items which are used in the property which is coming from abroad. And so then naturally this money, this profit is going there only. Or say, take it this way, the same one second, please hold on for. Yeah, so, yeah. Let's continue. Yeah. So the another thing, see, there may be a hotel. I'm just taking the example of hotel. This applies to many other industry, many other sectors also. Suppose a hotel, Marriott or say Four Seasons in Mumbai. Okay, such a property which is an international property. They may go for a franchisee in our country, or maybe their own direct property. Such a case, the share of the profit, of course, they will be paying the tax and all, but still, a share of the profit which they make out of tourism in India or any country for that matter, they will take it back also. So naturally, that is a leakage. The money which we are getting is going back. That is also a leakage. Okay. Then another problem we talk about enclave. These terms, you please remember it. Okay, you will be using it continuously in your studies in tourism and in your profession also. Enclave tourism is very simple, where you would have seen, see, sometimes a tour company, they bring people over here, and the people, whatever the requirements of the people, everything will be provided by that tour company, and these tourist people will not interact with the local community. They will not buy anything from the local place. They simply come here, they see the place, they purchase whatever is required, everything is provided by the tour operator, they go back. They are not having any interaction or any kind of a monetary activity with the host community or the local area. So that is not good for the place. What is to see? We have our place and we have some shops over. Our purpose of tourism to a certain extent is, of course, to earn some money in the proper way. So we need our local community to be benefited. We need them to have shops over there. People should come and buy it. Rather than some 10 people or 100 people are coming, they are literally not spending anything. They are spending their time over there. They are littering the area over there. Finally, they pollute the area and they go back. That is enclave tourism, where it is a tourism activity without much interaction with the local community or much transactions with the local community. That is enclave tourism. Another negative impact of tourism, we can say, seasonality of business and jobs. Yes, tourism is seasonal, as you know. See, it is a seasonal job, of course, whether it be Manali or whether it be Ooty or whether it be Gujarat, Ran of Kutch in Gujarat. See, all this time, it depends upon the kind of weather or the season over there. Okay, so only that particular season we can run the business. Rest of the time, either you will have to shut down your operations, or you may have to go for some what say like cutting down the cost, I mean, down the price of the product. So it is purely seasonal. That is another negative impact of tourism with respect to the economic factor. Guys, I know that it may be a little boring because you are sitting from the morning today, right? But please bear with me. I can't make it crack jokes also now in this. It should be interactive. Then only it's possible to crack some jokes or tell something extra. Please bear with me. Okay. But this topic is very essential and it is important. Next one, yeah, dependency. Sometimes what happens, you will see a place is completely dependent on tourism, where if tourism is not there, they will be berserk. They will invest all their money for tourism based operations or tourism based business, and they will be completely dependent on tourism. That is again bad, because tourism again is depending upon certain other factors. You know what has happened now because of the corona or COVID-19 issue. It is completely affected. Hmm? And of course, it is not only for tourism, it is for all industries except for health industry, we can say, and to a certain extent education industry. Even I'm sorry to use that word industry, it has become an industry now. uh, so that dependency is there. So dependency is another thing. That is also again a wrong thing. If there is no tourism, again the whole people community will be affected, and they will not be able to sustain economically. Hmm. Then comes the opportunity cost. See, it is again a negative impact of tourism. See, to develop tourism, not only for tourism, any sector, we need to invest a lot of money. And the money which we invest for tourism, that could have been invested in some other sector. For example, in a country, in our country, sometimes if we are developing a tourism product by spending crores and crores of rupees, but that would have been it would have been better if they are spending that money for medical facility in some places, in some scenarios. I'm saying that is the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the see, what is the cost which we are incurring for not taking the next best alternative. Next best alternative, see, we spend, say, just take it this way. You are if you're investing 50 lakhs for a business, hmm, and you invest 50 lakh for the business, and what is the opportunity cost? If you have not invested it on this business, and rather you have put that money 50 lakhs in share market, what would have been your advantage? Would it have been better or not? So that cost is the opportunity cost. Hmm. So in tourism also, the money which we are investing for tourism development, money, time and effort, all these things which we are investing, if that was invested in some other area, especially in a country like ours, where more of medical facilities, and not every area, I'm not talking about metros and all, but some sectors. How it would have been? So we have to justify that by doing more of tourism and getting more benefits out of tourism. That is the opportunity cost. Then, of course, as you know, prostitution, drugs, alcoholism, pedophiles, underground economy, all these things. See, I'll tell you one example. You take the case of a country like Thailand, okay, where they have promoted sex tourism at the beginning. But now what has happened? Even the government themselves cannot come out of it. That is a negative impact of tourism, we can say. See, where see, another problem is an underground economy. We say the underground economy is, it's an illegal economic trade which is happening in places where tourism is there. Because quite often you will find in tourist destinations, you will find little bit of what to say, this drugs problem will be there, alcoholism will be there. But telling all these things, that is not applicable in every place. There are beautiful destinations which is not having all these issues, which are very well maintained also. But if it is uncontrolled, things like this may happen. That is what they are saying. Okay. So that is all about the positive and negative impacts of tourism with respect to the economic factor. You have any doubts in this one, you can just put it in the chat box. If chat box is open, then we'll move on to the next one. Any doubts, you please put it in the chat. If you can't, I think it's muted for all of you. So if you have any doubt, you can. Otherwise, I'll move to the next topic. I hope not everybody is sleeping, right? 2, 3 participants. Yeah, please put it in the chat box if you have a doubt with respect to this particular topic which we have discussed. We were talking about the economic impacts of tourism. We discussed about the positive and negative impacts of tourism, economic impacts of tourism. Raise your hand, but then I'm just requesting that if you can put it in chat box, it would have been fine. Okay, leave it. Let us continue that. Okay. Next, coming on to the socio-cultural impacts of tourism. Once again, I'll just. See, socio-cultural impacts of tourism. See, first and foremost, we discussed about the economic impacts of tourism. Now it is about the socio-cultural impacts of tourism. See, everywhere, see, we talk about tourism, we say tourism affects the society, it affects the cultural balance of the place. And here we are going to see what are the positive and negative social and cultural impacts of tourism. Okay. Let's see. First and foremost, again, preservation and the restoration of cultural heritage. Um, See, quite often you would have noticed uh, tourist people interested to watch the performing art forms of our country, whether it be the classical art forms like Odissi or Mohiniyattam, Kathakali, all these, or Kathak, all these. See, uh, to be very frank, if there was no tourism or tourism development was not there in this stage, how much of our this real cultural heritage, like performing art forms and such things, would have survived? Uh, Maybe to a certain extent, but not beyond that. So basically, because of tourism, what is happening? We are preserving and restoration of a culture, whether it be a monument also. We preserve them, we restore the monument sometimes, we preserve it. Why? Because it is a tourism product also. So, what is actually happening because of the tourism factor? Because people are coming and they are interested in seeing the monuments over here. They are interested in seeing the cultural diversity of the place and to watch the performing art forms of the country, of the nation. So what we are doing, we are preserving it also. So that is one reason why we are preserving. Otherwise, to preserve a monument or to restore a monument or such things, we require a lot of money, and from where the money is going to come, how much of effort we would have taken just to preserve or restore things. No, but tourism is really helping us out in that one. It is giving a lot of economic benefits, and people are coming because it has become a tourism product. A monument has become a tourism product. A cultural, say, performing art form like Kathakali or maybe Odissi has become a tourism product. So we have to keep it as such, and so that people are coming, so that that thing will thrive on. And next one, a cultural pride and sense of identity. Yes, of course. When somebody is coming from US or somewhere in Europe and to our country, and they are appraising or they are happy to see our art forms, it gives a kind of a sense of that identity and a pride for us. Yeah, our culture, how great it is. People are coming from outside and they are watching it and they are appreciating it. Okay, so that kind of a cultural pride, we start respecting ourselves. Often the problem is we never respect our history or tradition and culture. But here, because of tourism, at least, this is one good thing with respect to the social cultural impact, where we start realizing or we start understanding or we start taking pride in our culture and history. Okay, next one, a positive cross cultural exchange. That is true. See, not every time cultural exchange is negative. Quite often it can be positive also. A positive cross cultural exchange means, see, we take the good cultural aspects from other people. They take the good cultural aspects from us. You talk about yoga, you talk about Ayurveda and all these things. These are all our cultural byproducts, we can say. And that is being carried, that is being taken by them also, by the people who are coming from foreign countries also. They appreciate it, they understand the value of it, they accept it and they take it. Okay. So that is a positive cross cultural exchange is happening. And we also take lot many things from them also. Of course, see some basic mannerisms, or what to ask, when to ask, what not to ask. Many of these things we learn also from them also. Okay, and of course, revival of traditional arts and crafts, which again I told. I personally I can cite the example of I'm from Kerala, down south Kerala, Trivandrum in Kerala, and here if you see, go to the northern part of Kerala, you will see a martial art forms called Kalaripaita. This Kalaripayattu is considered to be the what to say, like from Kalaripayattu only that kung fu kung fu or karate, that art martial art form from China has evolved actually. So this traditional martial art form of Kalaripayattu, it is now very famous, and there are lot many centers which are training people in Kalaripayattu, and it has become a tourism product also. You go to places in northern Kerala, not only northern Kerala, you go to places like Tekadi, place in Kerala, see, where you will find a lot of this martial art form performances will be there, and lot many tourists are coming to see that one. See, basically, it's a kind of if this tourism was not there, hardly very few people would have practiced that. Because see, there are two ways of practicing it. One, it should provide you with some economic benefits, and then out of passion, simply out of passion people do, but then again they have to spend a lot of time and money and effort for that one. Without getting an economic benefit, only a few people will continue with their passion actually. So tourism has really helped to revive a lot of traditional arts and craft forms of our country. I just gave the example of only one, but you may be knowing many traditional arts and crafts form from your place actually. Okay, so that is again another positive impact of tourism. Now we are moving on to the negative impacts of tourism. Negative impacts of tourism with respect to the socio-cultural aspect of it. Yeah. See, this is loss of authenticity and meaning of traditional arts and crafts. See, in the name of tourism, now we are coming on to the negative aspects. The name of tourism, you will see sometimes people doing some kind of a mimicry, or just in the name of just to please the tourist, they will say this is our particular cultural art. Actual that authenticity will be lost. They will, see, if I'm again citing the example of a Kathakali. Actual Kathakali, that performance is the whole, it is normally for say 5-6 hours continuously, the whole night it will be there. But for tourist people, what they will do, they will make it into a nutshell, a capsule form. They will make it for hardly say half an hour also, even they will make it for 10 minutes also. So actually what is happening, the authenticity, or that authenticity means that see that authenticity, I'm not getting another word in English. Actually authenticity is that no, I'm sorry, I'm not getting another word. See that actuality, or what to say, that that is gone actually. The people simply consider it as a product, and they do it without understanding the actual meaning of the art. Actually, just simply perform to get money. Next one is commoditization. It's again coming as part of the first topic. First, what I told now, commoditization of cultural art forms. Everything has become a commodity. Our art forms were never a commodity. It was it was normally practiced as part of temple festival or church festival and such things. But what has happened now? Now art forms has become a commodity. It has become a tourism product where people pay money. You pay me 1,000 rupees, I will perform for 10 minutes. You pay me 2,000 rupees, I'll perform for 20 minutes. Like that, it has become just like a commodity. That is called commoditization of the cultural art forms. That is again a negative impact of tourism, we can say. Next one, commercialization of relationships. Yes, commercialization of relationship. Yeah, we say namaste to a person genuinely, with a really, it should come from the heart. But when you are working in a hotel, uh, or you are working in a tour operation company, you say namaste, but seriously, you will be smiling. Quite often, the biggest problem these days is that people pretend, actually pretend love. You can, but actually you cannot pretend love. No? See, you should have that feeling inside, then only you can do it. But unfortunately, this is not only with respect to tourism, with respect to many other things, people just act. Everything is commercialized. Even relationships has become commercialized. So you say namaste simply for the sake of saying namaste. You smile simply for the sake of saying smile. That is again a negative aspect of tourism. And let me repeat once more: it is not only in case of tourism; it has become a common norm of the day among people in their day-to-day life. Now, next one: misunderstandings and conflicts between local community and the tourist. Yes, this happens actually. See, I'll tell you. Again, I'm citing the example of a place in Kerala called Kumaragam. Kumaragam it is a backwater destination, and that place has become very famous after our former Prime Minister Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, when he came to Kerala and he stayed in this Kumaragam. He stayed in a resort in Kumaragam, and he was a very good poet. You will be knowing about it. And he wrote about this particular destination. After that, it becomes an instant hit, actually, the destination, and people started flocking to that place from abroad, from all over the country, and from different parts of the world. Okay, so what happened? This is a very small township near to Kottayam district. It is in Kottayam district in Kerala, and this township, very few people were there, and this lake, the banks of the lake, people were staying over. Like, they had small huts and small houses were there over there. And this water, the local community used to depend upon this water even for washing clothes, even sometimes for taking bath also. So what happened? Once after this tourists started coming, more number of tourists started coming. They used to travel in this through this lake in houseboats, actually. So when they travel in houseboats, obviously they will be keeping a binocular to see the beauty of the place, and that was kind of intruding into the privacy of the people who were staying in the banks. So that what happened, and even they started dumping the they means the tour operators. They were not careful in the beginning. They started dumping the waste or the drainage onto the backwaters itself. Another problem was while flying or while traveling through the lake, this fishing nets were there. That was damaged. Many cases because of the houseboats operation, this fishing nets were damaged. So this has created a kind of a we can say a kind of an antagonistic approach, or what to say, simply the people become, the local community become against, they become against tourism. They were angry with the tourists also. They don't want tourism to happen over there. So this kind of conflicts can happen due to certain reasons between the local community and the tourist. Okay, and then another problem, let me tell you, quite often tourist people, when they are coming, they may be wearing a very casual dress, and unfortunately, in many cases from our country, I mean, saying state or country, whatever, there are people, there are, it is there everywhere, not only in one country. I'm saying everywhere it is there. Not everybody are sane, not everybody are bad also. See, so here they have the habit of staring, which is really a kind of insult for other people. See, such then again conflicts arise. So this kind of conflicts arise because of the tourism activity in some places. Next, you will find displacement of local residents. See, this you can see this happening, especially in the case of tribal communities who are settled in inside the forest area and all. Quite often, what happened? That area may be a beautiful place. It may become a tourist destination. It will become a tourist destination later, and the people will start coming there. Then government may give sanction to construct resorts over there, something like that. Then what will happen? The local residents of the tribal people over there, they are getting displaced from that place because that their own place has become a tourist destination and they will have to move out of their place. So that is again another problem with respect to tourism. And these are some points only. Just see some pictures. I just this is a this you can see. Hopefully, it is from somewhere from Africa, I think. See, like a positive interaction, we can say. They're acting as guides only. See, again, I'll give you another example of how well tourism is can be utilized for helping the local community. Um, Sorry to give examples all from the state. This is where I know a little bit better. That's why. A place called Tekadi, which I told earlier, there is it's a wildlife sanctuary. There were a lot of poachers over there. Poachers, poachers. Poachers are people who hunt animals, hunt wild animals, and it's an illegal activity. And some poachers, personally, I had an opportunity to meet them. That's why I'm saying these people, they were earlier poachers, and they were arrested. Then later, they were, because of their good context, they were released also after a certain period of time. And there was a project to rehabilitate these people. So what they have done, these poachers were there. A company, it happened quite a long time back, around 10, 15 years back, but it was a good novel idea where a company came to the friend, and they, in association with the government of Department of Tourism, what they have made a package where these poachers, they will act as tourist guides, and a group of tourist people will come along with them. This one or two these tour guides, that is the former poachers, and then one forest guard also. All this team will go inside the forest. Advantage is that these people from the particular area, that the local community, they know the place very well than any other place, any other person. No tour operator can provide such a good guide. They used to take these foreigners or tourist people deep inside the forest. They used to stay in tents, which they used to stay when they were doing this illegal activity. Then they used to take food, all that. Nothing is packed and sent. Everything from inside the forest. A really rough life. And that term, that name of that project was Tiger Trail. That tour package was termed as Tiger Trail. And it was an instant success. And another good thing is that these people, these poachers who are acting as tour guides, they were paid a monthly remuneration, salary kind of thing every month. So ultimately, what we are trying to do, because of tourism, the local community are benefited. See, otherwise, these people killing an elephant and using the tusk, where the tusk is, see, who is benefited actually? They are not even wearing a chapel. They kill the animals, and where the money is going? It is going outside only. You would have heard about Veerappan's story, no? Veerappan, I have never seen him wearing a normal, like you'll see lot many videos of him where he's always wearing a normal sandal only. He's the person who killed a lot many elephants, and if he has collected all that tusk and sold it for himself, he would have become a millionaire only, crorepati only. But then quite often they are made fools and they are being utilized by some other people. So tourism can be a good answer for that. Their capability, their skill level, their knowledge about the forest or their locality and such things, no, that can be utilized in a proper way through tourism. So just giving one example of that one. Yeah, this is see tribal community. This is again a bad thing. See, as a tourist, even when we go also, normally what we see, there are some tribal community, they may be wearing their dress in a peculiar way. We watch at them and we think, okay, fine. We consider them as again a kind of a product, something is to be, which is to be watched for, or we are getting happy watching them. See, that is again a wrong attitude of tourism. Let me tell you. See, tribes, they interact with the tourist. They themselves are becoming tourist attractions. Hmm? Which is like intruding into their privacy, and it is not good also. Hmm? Uh, Such aspects are there in tourism. We should be very careful while handling this kind of issues when you are working in the industry. At least when you are in, if you are in a policy making level person, or even if you're working in a tourist as a tour executive also. This, see, you should have the concepts clear. You should never allow our pride, our nation's pride, or our people's pride to be settled or to be compromised at any level in the name of tourism. That also should be there. Yeah, only 15 kilometers, go to the next gas station. Eco tourist, I assume. See, see, there is a term called eco tourist. You will learn more about that one, but unfortunately, it's not eco tourism which is happening every time. You will learn about that later. Okay. Now we are coming on to the. Uh, I think I am boring you guys, but anyway, another 10 minutes I'll wind up. Okay, I'll finish off this thing. Environmental impacts of tourism. We'll come on to this. This is again a very important topic. I'm not elaborating it much, but still to give a glimpse of it. Actually, first, positive impacts. You may think environmental impacts of tourism, everything is negative. No, there are some positive impacts also for tourism. Okay, first thing, environmental awareness. See, often you get a lot of money from tourism, and a part of that money is going back to preserve the environment also, because you know that if there is no proper environment, if that that place is not kept properly, tourism is going to happen also. So you get to know the importance of the environment because of tourism itself, and you understand it as a tourism product also. You spend the money, whatever you are earning or whatever you are getting, there will be a lot of awareness created for the preservation of environment as part of tourism also. That is one thing. Then again, protection and conservation of the flora and fauna, enhancement of local environment. See, enhancement of local environment means, see, a place is developed, a place is developed as a tourism spot. Naturally, there will be some ancillary development along with that one, which may be as per the, or it may be conducive for the tourism growth as well as for the environment of the area. So such positive impacts we can say, but most importantly, when it comes to environmental impact, it is the negative impact. See, you will see enough number of examples with respect to the negative impacts of tourism on the environment, whether it be the inappropriate and haphazard development. See, often the problem with us, no, we have an opportunity. Immediately everybody will start business. Okay, this is an opportunity to make money. Okay, all will jump on there, all will barge onto it, without thinking the repercussions, without thinking the problems which may happen to the environment or to the society later on. So a planned, actually the problem is lack of planning. Simply, okay, adventure tourism, okay, adventure, wherever we want to start adventure tourism, we will start adventure tourism without knowing whether it is ideal to start adventure tourism activity over there. What are the impacts for the, if it is water based, what are the impacts for the marine life over there? See, all this lack of planning happens actually, and this has happened because only money, when we think only about the money factor, that is the biggest mistake which we are doing, and that is right in case of tourism also. So you'll find a lot of inappropriate and haphazard development happening in the name of tourism. Finally, the beauty of the place will itself go. Okay, loss of natural habitat. Yes, natural habitat, loss of natural habitat. I told people already, the displacement of people, and wildlife. Quite often you will be these days you will be hearing stories that elephants are. Last day I've seen one picture where somewhere in Wayanad, a elephant has came to the house, and you won't believe it. The picture was like, it has simply with one stroke, it has destroyed the whole concrete building. And what it was doing, it was trying to take food from the kitchen actually. Hmm? Why such things are happening? Because we people have intruded into their area. And we started in the name of development, in the name of we will do start farming over there, we will make money. Finally, we are actually intruding into their privacy. So basically, for every forest, there are three zones. There is a tourist zone. Outside zone is called as a tourist zone. Then there is a buffer zone. Then there is a core area. Core area is the main, or the maximum is a core area. And you will find a lot of wildlife in the core area as well as the buffer area. But only the tourist zone is very less actually. But unfortunately, these days, what is happening in the name of tourism development or for other reasons also, we are intruding into the buffer area and the other parts, which again will, wildlife will come out of that area. And then next one, pollution. Yeah, travel accounts for 8% of greenhouse emissions. When I'm saying things, see, people travel and mostly they travel through jets, and jet fuel emission is the main reason. Almost 80 to 90% of the atmospheric pollution is happening because of the fuel emission from jets actually. That emissions from the jet fuel. So to be very frank, at least indirectly or even directly, this industry is contributing to pollution. So again, let me repeat what I told in the beginning. That doesn't mean we should not continue with our industry. What we need to do is to be careful. That what I am telling you again, careful. Just like driving is dangerous, driving can be dangerous. Then doesn't mean we should not drive. We should drive carefully. Okay, that is it. So pollution again, this greenhouse gases. You know what is greenhouse gases? I'm not going to explain it now. But that much of pollution is happening because of tourism. So we as tourism professionals, that's what normally we had a program called Swachhata Action Plan, where we used to go to different parts of the country and will address people who are working in the tourism industry, like stakeholders or maybe sometimes school students or college students. Where personally I use, when we speak, we used to say like, we are an industry, especially to the stakeholders. We are an industry which contribute in the negative sense, the maximum for the pollution of this environment. We contribute more for the environmental pollution. So we have, or we owe more. We have a moral responsibility to see that the places are kept clean, and we are seeing that we are taking care with respect to pollution. We are not going for much of the pollution. So leave that one. Then again, noise, light, and visual pollution. You want to know about light and visual pollution? You can go and see some restaurants in Goa itself. You will understand it. Okay. See, overcrowding and activities that affect natural environment. See, the beauty of a destination often is spoiled by overcrowding. Every place has something called as carrying capacity. Unfortunately, because of tourism development or in the name of tourism development, sometimes people will not take care of the carrying capacity. Carrying capacity is not simply how many people can stay at a place. There are physical carrying capacity, environmental carrying capacity, economical different carrying capacities, which we will learn later. But overcrowding is another problem with respect to tourism. And then I'm not going more because sometime you require to ask some questions if you have. Okay, so resource depletion again. The example of fresh water is there. Freshwater supply is very less these days. Still, you will find pools and golf courses take a lot of water. It require a lot of water to maintain the shrubs and all these things. And then bathtubs. Uh, just one example. Again, removal of mangroves. Mangroves are essential for the environmental balance itself. We have certain regulations like a CRS, Coastal Regulation Zone Act is there with respect to our country, but still coastal degradation is happening in the name of tourism. So see, this is somewhere from the internet only I got these pictures. Like, see, this is the state of a, I don't know which destination it is actually, but this is the state of a beach actually. See, then what more we can expect? See, again, constructions like this near to the sea is very dangerous. And it will, after a certain point of time, you see that the sea coming inside. That will happen even otherwise. It's a matter of time only. Because this is a place in Spain, I think northern Spain or something. Just took the picture actually from the net only. See, this is the kind of development which is happening. Haphazard development, we can say. And if it is continued like this, the whole thing will be stopped one day. Yeah, this is again a beach destination. I was just going through this actually, and now it is shut down. If I'm right, not only because of Corona, before that itself, because of the waste dumpage and a lot of marine fishes and all, they started like they died and they see. This is we don't need to tell where it is actually. Hmm? So these are some, just I gave some basic examples, only some pictures also, but this is a state of affairs. Sometimes the truth or reality, sometimes, so it often bites actually. So this is the actual scenario. Anyhow, let us discuss more about this topic.
Subramanian sir,
Yes, thank you,
so
ma'am.
sorry to interrupt.
No, it's
Actually, you
okay.
are already done. I was
It's
just
done.
saying sorry to interrupt because your
Yeah,
time
tell
is
me.
over,
Yeah.
but then you're done.
It's done, ma'am. It's done. If they have
Uh,
some questions, they can put it in the chat box. I won't take. I think
Dear students, if you want, you can ask questions. You can write in chat. Students want attendance link.
that is what they will
Oh,
be very much
Himanshu, if
interested.
yes. Himanshu, if you can please send the attendance link.
This is the final session, ma'am.
Any questions?
Today, this is the final
Yes, sir.
session, right? This is the final session today,
Yes.
right? Any other
Final
session today?
for the
This is the final session.
opportunity cost.
Opportunity cost. So the session. Okay, thank you. See,
There was one question.
opportunity
Yes.
cost you was asking. See, dear friend, let me tell you, like opportunity cost is a term in economics actually, where that is a cost which we pay for going for a particular project rather than taking its alternative. Like I gave the example, 50 lakh rupees you are spending to start a business. That 50 lakh you could have you put in the share market also. Sometimes you may get more profit from the share market than the business which you start. The same way in tourism, when we invest in tourism, rather than investing in tourism, if you invest in medical facilities for the people, would that have been better or not? So the cost, so we have to substantiate, we have to justify the money which, or the cost which you are putting for one particular sector by making more profit out of there. Hope I am making it clear. If it's not clear, again, definitely you will be in the class time, we can discuss it. What laws should be followed for providing the best facilities to the tourist in this pandemic time? See, to be very frank, my dear friend, let me tell you, Ariman, see, laws are there, enough of laws are there. It's all about following the laws. And if you ask me about the pandemic time, to be very frank, nobody is certain. We can only say this may happen, this will happen. But seriously, nothing concretely we can say. We have to wait and see. But one thing, let me tell you, what I feel personally, it may be right or wrong, that after this pandemic, it will end one day. Or people say about living along with the corona, it will happen. But then one thing, it is not going to be an abrupt or what to say, all of a sudden tourism will start from one day onwards. No, it will take some time. It will be a gradual process, and there will be lot many changes which you see in the tourism pattern itself. Rather than mass tourism, you are going to see, or you are going to witness a lot of responsible tourism activities where people will not be flocking together. The chartered flights, the number of chartered flights will be less also, or even if they are coming, that will be based on certain regulations. So such changes you will find. That is a bigger topic which we can discuss on later. Negative impact on inflation. Sir, please once more explain about Ranu ma'am is there. I can, because no lot many questions are
Yes, sir.
coming. Ma'am, I think I can wind up. I'll do one thing. I'll just take down the questions. I can answer all these questions, but it will take time, ma'am. That is a problem.
Sure, sir,
Uh,
sure. You
uh,
can take the
so,
questions,
uh,
or
uh,
if
yeah,
you want, you can share your mail ID, sir.
yeah.
Students can send their
I'll
questions.
definitely I'll share my mail ID. Okay. You please note it down. It's
You can type your
yeah.
email
I'm
ID in
just
the
putting
chat
it.
box.
Uh,
Students, you can check sir's email
Please,
ID
this is
in the chat
my name is
box.
Subramaniam. You can please check it, take it at dinu82@rediffmail.com. Definitely, I'll
Yes.
do. And somebody
You
was
can,
asking volleyball team. Yes, yes, my dear friend
yes, sir.
Aditya Anand, volleyball team is there. Don't worry. Okay, you'll have all the facilities over there. Just pray that the pandemic is getting over as soon as possible, so you can enjoy the facilities at IIT. Okay,
Yes, sure.
okay, okay, guys.
When will
Thanks a
the
lot.
lecture start? Yes.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Shall I
Yes,
wind up?
thank you so much. Thank you so much for the session.
Thank you, ma'am.
Students, we are off for the day. We'll be meeting after 3 days now. That is on 5th of October. So we'll be meeting on 5th of October. We have this long weekend coming for Friday, Saturday, Sundays there. Usually we used to say this to students, utilize this weekend, visit some place. If you want, you can go for safe travel, else enjoy your homestay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, students.
Thank you.
Let's meet on Monday now. Thank you all.